Hi guys, very good morning to you and welcome to the video number 259. This is Ajay and I'm going to talk about today the user forms. We are going to talk about the how to use the text box and the command button, right? And how to set up the relationship between these two the controls which we have in the Excel VBA user forms, right? So as you can see that this is going to be the very basic level, right? So if you're somebody who really know VBA a lot and very much proficient in the user forms, then this video may not be beneficial for you, but still I would suggest you to stick to that, because sometimes it happens when you watch something then the more you watch, the more things it comes into your mind. So maybe you can take the benefit out of it. But this video actually I want to dedicate to people who have written me in the past that they want to have some very good basic understanding on the user forms. Right now we already have a lot of videos guys on the user forms. I won't say a lot of videos, but yes, you just need to go to the Excel VBA user forms and there you can see the 6 videos. Now all these 6 videos are very intermediate and advanced level of the videos, right? They really don't talk about the basics of the user forms, which I'm going to talk about today, and that is the reason that I'm going to actually launch this user form series. And you can see that in our channel we have 257 I think the videos, and we have all the categories here. The channel is dedicated to Excel VBA, MS Access and MS Access VBA, right? So anything which you want to learn, you have some problems in understanding, I would suggest you to go to the playlist and find out all the different the categories. Here we have the videos on Excel VBA loops, we have the access queries, we have the workbooks, how to handle the workbooks, charts, pivots, everything is there. I mean to say, you just need to search, right? All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go back to the Excel sheet and let me immediately start with the user form part. So we are going to learn the user form guys, and in the user form I'm going to tell you two things. One is text box and the command button, right? So we are going to enter some information in the text box. Your user will enter any information, and when he's going to hit on the submit button, that information should go somewhere and get stored. So this is what we need to learn. So to the first part which I want to tell you is, before I create text box and command box, how to insert the user form. Okay, so you go to the developer tab, you hit on the Visual Basic, and here you need to click on the insert and user form. Most of the time we always insert the modules, but today we are not going to insert the module, we are going to insert the user form. So I'm going to hit on the user form. Now when you hit on the user form, this is the kind of the window you would see. Okay, you can resize this form according to your requirement like this, right? If you have this kind of a form, when you run this, you see that the form would come. It is totally blank obviously because we haven't plugged in anything, but this is how you can make this form and user can enter the things. Right now, what is the use of the user form if you ask me? Well, first, it really makes so easy to work with. Your Excel, your VBA program, somebody if they have the drop downs, they have the buttons, then they really don't need to look at the code. They can simply feed in all the information in the form, like a banking form. You go to the when you log in on your banking site and you do any transaction, they generally ask you two things: username and the password, right? But these days there are a lot of other things also coming, like when you click on the submit, you get some access code, transaction ID on your mobile. So how the things are happening, they are so easy. You just need to put the information, that's it. And for example, how about these job websites? So in the job websites, you go there, you put your resume, you give all the information, name, last name, your experience, your qualification. So there you have different kind of a boxes. Check box: are you, let's say, is your age is over 18 years? Then there is a check mark. There is you can check mark that if it is not, you can leave it blank. So there are a lot of things. So that those same things we can actually make in the user form. So in this video I'm only going to cover the two parts, which is the text box and command button, because we will definitely go very gradually. We will like to take some time. We will not like to run fast. I don't want to cover everything in this video, right? First of all, we'll cover text box and the command box, and in the maybe next session we can cover some more other controls. But one thing which is very important, that to to put the controls in this user form, you have this toolbox which should always be on. If it is not there, if your form looks like this, for example, you don't have that toolbox, which is very important, no worries, go to the tool and hit on the toolbox and you would see this. Now this is very important window, because you see here, if I hover my mouse, I have everything here. Here we have a label, text box, combo box, list box, check box, option box, right? So I'm going to focus only on the two things. One is the text box. So this is the text box. You need to click here. Once you click on that, you see that it gets selected, it gets pressed, and now you need to drag it. So just drag it, okay, and there we go. Now it's all up to you, width, height, whatever you want to set. I'm okay with that, right? Now once you have created this text box, if you run the code, you see that I'm going to run this. This is how the text box would come, okay? And here you can enter anything, right? Anything, all right? And this is the information we are going to pull out. The moment the user enters this information and clicks on the submit button, this information should store somewhere. Okay, so this is the text box. Now what is the next thing I want to create? The next thing I want to create is then the button which can be clicked. So to do that, you need to create this command button. You can see here, right? Now this window looks almost same, because I have worked on 2007, I have worked on 2010, and this is the 2016, but I guess it works the same way even in 2013. So you will not find any challenges, right? So I'm going to click on this command button, and then we're going to click on this command button right over here. So this is, you can see that it gets created, and it also says that this is the command button. Okay, now let us run the program. And before I run the program, I want to also get a one header inserted which says that enter your name, for example. So you just click on the label and put it here. Label means to write something, to give the information, okay, to the user. Now right now, if I click on this, this is how the form would look, which is perfect. But this command button one doesn't really look nice, and this label one, what is it, right? So we will have to program the things. So what is the first thing I want to do? I want to, label one should be changed to, let's say, enter your name. Okay, so I click here, and once you click here, you need to go to the view and the property window, or you can press F4 as well. It's all up to you. But important thing, note down this line, you got to select first, right? Only then the property window will take you to its, the property of that control. Right now you can see that I have this property window which is coming, which says label 1, and the caption is also, it says label 1. So caption means what you want to display to the user, and what you write here, that name is used in the VBA program. The user has nothing to do with that. I'm going to cover this just in a while, but first of all, let's change the caption. So here I'm going to write enter full name. Let's say this is what I want. Okay, the moment you click outside, you see that this line is changed. Perfect. Now not only this, you can also, here we have a lot of things: back color, back style, border color. You can change a lot of things. For example, if you want to change the color to, let's say, this one, you see the color is changed, right? So you can do a lot of modifications, but generally forms are always, we really don't color the forms, but they look very awkward. To be honest, I mean, I really don't like the colors, they are really not so good. Like in Excel, you have the colors for the charts, different templates, but still, I mean, if you want to use it, you can use that. Just so a little of the things you can, I mean, still do research and development. For example, on this, like there is a font, you can also change the font. If you click on this ellipsis, it will take you to the font, and from there you can different things, you can increase the size, you can decrease the size, and from here you can do a lot of stuff, right? So I leave it to you. That's not really so important. It's just about the formatting part, but this is how the things happen. Okay, so once you have changed the name, now what is the next thing I want to do? The next thing I want to do, I want to click here. Now in the text box, what I want to do, though the name is coming text box 1, but I don't want to keep this name as text box 1. right? I'll tell you the reason, because when you're going to program this would appear as text box 1, and if you have a lot of text box, then in the VBA when you're going to write the program, you will not be able to remember that which text box refers to what, because the naming convention by default happens like this: text box 1, text box 2, text box 3, right? So it's always good, you should use the text box in a way that you can actually remember. For example, I'm going to write txt and I'm going to write a full name. Now this is very much useful for me. I can remember this while writing the program, right? You can write whatever you want, but I generally prefer text box with the txt and the command buttons with the D. Okay, now let me create one more text box here. So let's go to the view and let hit on this toolbox. Now I want to create, let's say, one more text box, and which is, let's say, this one. Again, I click here and I'm gonna drag it here. Okay, all right. Now in this text box also, if you have selected this text box, you see that this is giving you the name called text box 1, right? Because the previous one, text box 1, is changed to now txt full name. So that is what I'm telling you. If you have a lot of text boxes created, okay, then you will be confused in writing the program, because the numbers comes like this: text box 1, text box 2, text box 3. So it's good to change them. So let's say we want to change this to let's say father name. So I'm just going to write here txt and father name. Okay, this is the information you need. And similarly, you need to create another label. So instead of going to the view and hit on the toolbox and creating this label again, what you can do is you can also copy the existing one. You can copy this. I copy, Control C, I click here in the form and I Control V, and this is going to paste. So this is pasted. I can move it over here, and obviously now once I have selected this, you see that the property window is coming which says label 2. I'm okay with that label 2, label 1, because we are not going to use the labels in the programming. So that's fine. Let's just keep it like this. Okay, let's not waste our time. Just here I'm going to write here enter father name. Okay, and click outside, and there we go. Now this looks perfect. Now let's come to the command box. So I clicked here first, and you see the moment I clicked, it says command button 1. So I'm going to change this to cmd submit. Okay, this is the name. Again, I'm repeating, I'm going to use this in the VBA. And what about the caption? The caption, I told you, this is the name which would come on the box itself. I deleted it. As you can see, it's completely blank. So we will write here submit. I'm going to write here submit. All right, you see that submit is coming. So user would now understand that they need to submit the information. Again, guys, you can change the font. You can give some different kind of a color, the back color as well. It's all up to you, right? Let's say I choose this, so this is fine, right? Now your form would look like this if I hit on the run. Perfect, right? You can take care of the alignment, that's fine. Just need to move it a little to the left, and the color, everything, whatever you want to do, I mean to say, that we can do very easily. I'm not going to focus on that. Now the important point is, once you enter the information, where that information should go. And by the way, I can do one thing. I can put it here, and I can just reduce this size a little, because this is a submit button. Okay, and you click on the user form now, and once you click on the user form, you can reduce the size. So basically, it's very simple. Let me put it this way. When you want to copy and paste something, what you do? First, you always select the cell and then you copy, right? If I tell you that you need to copy this and paste it somewhere, you can't really copy it while being on different cell. You got to be on this cell, and then you can copy, right? So same way in the user forms, these are the different controls. This is the command button, this is the text box, this is the text box, this is the label, this is the label. All these we call it controls, right? So whenever you want to do any action, you want to change their name, you want to change the name, which we can use in the VBA, which is this portion name, then you just need to first click and go to the property. And if you want to work on the entire form, then you need to select this form here, select anywhere here, right? And you can reduce the size like this. All right, if you want to reduce the size of this text box, then obviously first you select it, and then you go to the extreme side of this, the border side of this, and just you can reduce the width and size. So it is as simple as that, right? Now again, now user form 1, you see that if I run this, it says that the user form 1. So you can also get rid of it. We can say that this is a application form. So how to do that? First, you select this form which is already selected. As you know, this is the biggest control, right? Because user form is the biggest control. And then what you need to do, obviously you need to go to this property window. If the property window is not coming, if the form looks like this, you just need to press F4, or again I'm repeating, you can go to the view and the property window. All right, now you can see that it says user form 1. User form 1 is a name of the form which you are going to actually use in the VBA program while writing the code. Okay, so if I just keep it like this only, user form 1, that's fine, but I will definitely go in the caption, and in the caption I'm going to change the name. You can see that the moment I delete it, the user form is removed from here. All right, so we are going to write here application form. All right, that's it. This is just to display, so that the form makes sense. Now if I hit on the run, that looks like this. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and let's click on the submit and let's get this information. Okay, so what I want to do is, because this is just going to be the very basic video, so the first thing which I want to do, I click on the submit button, because I want to go and I want to program whenever this button gets clicked what exactly you want to do. So you click on the right click, and on the right click just hit on the view code. The moment you hit on the view code, this event will be created, which is cmd submit underscore click. Now if you remember, it's coming as cmd submit because I have changed the name, right? By default it was command button 1. So if you will not change that name, the name would come like command button 1. But because we have changed the name, let me show you back. Let me hit on this user form again, and this submit button, I clicked on this, and I just right click and I go to the property, or you can press F4 as well, or you can take the help of this view option as well. It's one and the same thing. I have changed the name here cmd submit. Okay, if I'm going to change this name again, for example, I'm going to name this submit final, just to give you understanding. Okay, now I've changed the name. Now what happens again, if I go right click and view code, you see that the name is now changed to cmd submit final. So this button is no more now. This really is of no use, right? So whatever you write under the name parameter in the properties windows, that is going to be displayed here. So now what we want, right now I just want that whatever the name the user enters, we should get that here in the A1 and in the A2. Let us say this is what we need. So what you will write the sheet's name, which is the sheet 6. So I'm just going to write the name of the sheet, and this is how you write range E1 dot value. It should be equals to what? It should be equals to the text box 1. Now you remember that the name of the text box 1, it was I think txt my first name, right? So how you gonna write that? You're gonna write the user form name, which is user form 1 and dot txt. So this looks so easy for you now, right? txt father name, txt full name. Now you will be able to understand which actually control you want to refer here. Had it been something like that, text box 1, text box 2, text box 3, you won't remember that which control box is refers to what, and then you will have to go back to the code, and you will have to see in the property windows that what is the name for that control. So that is the beauty of this. That is why I suggest you that you should definitely use some good names. So here I want the full name, right? So in the full name, in the A1 cell, this is going to come, and again I'm gonna write one more thing, sheets. Let's go to the another cell, which is range A2 dot value equals to. Now I can also denote as a shortcut my form as a by writing the me word. You might have seen this if you have even slight information about the forms, right? People use it me only. Nobody uses the name of the form, because me actually is it's good to use it just a 2 alphabets, right? So I prefer me. So you can either write the user form name as well, because here we have the user form 1. Now this user form 1 means that because the name of the form is this, you haven't changed the name of the form. If you're going to change the name of the form, then this user form 1 would not come, then the name would come. For example, first of all, let me just complete this txt father name, right? So let's say I want to change the name of this user form here. So how will you do that? Right click and go to its property. Okay, so I click on the property. I'm sorry, this is not the property. Basically you go here and click on this property window. Now the property window comes for this user form, right? And now what we need to do is, now you see that it still says CMD submit final. That is completely telling me that this is not the user form 1 property window. This is actually the property window of command buttons. Don't be like, you know, totally blind, because now why it is showing you the CMD final, because when you click on your user form, double click on your form, you actually had selected the submit button, because of which it is still showing you this, the property window of the command submit button. So I don't have to do that, you know that. So I'm gonna click here. Now the form is selected, and there we go, guys. You see that the user form property is automatically changed. So it's very simple. When you click here, the property also changes. The property window also changes. Now you have the text box full name. If I select here, you have this label 1 automatically, you know, it's coming. So I need to select this, and now what I need to do is, because I want to use this user form 1 in the program with some different name, I can change the name. So you can write here that my form, let's say, or you can write here student form, right? Now what will be the difference? Now see, when I click outside, what happens? This name gets changed, right? So now here you actually have noticed two things. One is the caption, one is the name. Now caption, as I said, it is not going to be used in the program. It is only going to you know, when the user is going to click on the form, it is only going to display that information, just to give you that, you know, you wanted to give the good information. Instead of showing here user form 1 or something which is not really, you know, conveying any information that why the form is designed, we have changed this to the application form or admission form. I mean, whatever you want to write, but what you write in the name, that completely gets changed in the here in the VBA. Now this student form, I am gonna use this. Let me close this. Let me go back to my code, right click and view code. Now you see that here, when I'm gonna write this line again, let me go ahead and write user form 1. You see that when I press dot, there is no property coming. The reason is because user form 1 does not exist now. You have changed the name, and the name is student form. So you have to write here student form. This is the difference. And the moment I press student form, I can actually, you know, have the access to all of its controls. This is the text box 1, this is the text box 2, right? So this is how the things work in the user forms, right? So, but I will not, this is just for explanation, but I would prefer using here me, right? It's one and the same thing. I mean, it really doesn't make any difference. It's all up to you, but generally people write in me. So you should be knowing that, right? And I'm going to write here again the full name. All right. So now we are done with this. Now let's go ahead and let me put the break code here. Break code, guys, means that when I click on the submit button, the code will not run. It will stop here. And then from there we will press F8 and we will run it manually, so that I want to show you actually how the form looks like, right? So I come back to the form, and now we are done with this. Let me hit on the run. There we go. I write my name. Let's say I'm gonna write anything, let's say ABC, and let's say we write anything, let's say XYZ, and we're gonna hit on this submit button, right? The moment you hit the submit button, this command, this macro will fire. These are the events or self-triggered, right? They don't really wait for your instruction. You have said here that the moment this submit final is going to be clicked, you want to run this macro. So the macro will run, and now you know that what we have entered in the txt full name. I'm just hovering my mouse over here, and you can see that it says ABC. And similarly, when you run this father name, you know, you have written there XYZ. So in the A1 cell, you see that you got to see ABC. And in the A2 cell of the same sheet, you got to see XYZ, and there we go. That's it. All right. So once you do that, what you need is you also need to display the information. So if you want to display the information like it is done, you can write here the message box, guys, done. Okay, now I have removed the break code. Now you see what will happen the moment I run the form. This is how, let's say I run this HH and then JJ and I hit on the submit. You see that this is going to give you, all right, so we got the error, function not defined. It's a spelling mistake actually. It is message box, right? So I'm just going to write here message box. All right, let me hit back here and there we go, done. And you see that the values are changed, and at the same time the form still looks here. The form will still be activated, so we can go ahead and enter some new values here. For example, I'm going to enter some more value, I submit, and there we go. Right now it's overwriting it, but that's we are just understanding the concept. Now we don't need this kind of a stuff. I want that once the details are entered, the form should automatically exit. So what you can do in the submit button, you can write here unload me, or you can also write the form name, right? Unload means it is going to actually exit from it, right? But again, you have to give some button to the user so that they can click and the form gets, you know, available, because every time user will not go to the Visual Basic and hit on this. This is for you, right? They may not be a programmer. So what we are going to do, we are going to insert here a button, so that when that button is going to be clicked, user form should come. So this is what I want to do. Now here I'm going to add the macro. So now how you actually display the, you know, these user forms. So you need to insert a module for this. You insert the module, go to the module, and here write any name. Let's say display my form. This is the macro name. Okay, and here you need to write simply the macro name. Your macro name is student form, right? So you just write here student form dot show. That's it. Okay, now what happens, the form, when the form gets showed, you can enter the details and you can submit the things. Okay, so this display form macro, I'm going to connect it with this button. Right click and I hit on the assign macro, and we're going to click on this display form, and there we go. All right, so I hit on this and you see that the form is coming. If I close this, I can close this, right? If I close, the form gets disappeared. So let's go ahead and write. So let's say I'm going to write here a name, Aman Verma, and let's say I'm going to write here Rajneesh Verma. Okay, I hit on this submit, and there we go. Right now done. I click on the OK and the form get disappeared, because you have said there that, you know, the form is going to be exited. So you can enter as many details as you want like this, right? So my purpose was to only tell you that how to create the text box, how to create the command button, how to resize the forms, what are the property windows, how you can change the properties, you know, like for example, you can change the name of this by going to the caption. You can change the name of the entire control, which you can use in the VBA by going to the name tag, you know, instead of the caption. So these are the very important points. You can give them the different colors, and this is how, you know, your form gets actually created. Right, so I will be back with some more exciting stuff. I mean, we definitely going to talk about the other controls as well on the user form. So, but for now, I mean, this is fine. If you have any questions, just leave your comment, and I will be back very soon. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. Right, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.